Hey garden gals and guys, it's Steph with Tiny's Garden, and today I'm coming to you with my 2-week Lisianthus update. So far, pretty good overall. So my first tray here was the first round I planted. I could not get them all in cell trays at the same time, so they're a couple days spaced apart, but I'll go over that with you. So when I planted these at the same time I did 2 shade annuals, Begonias and Pansies, and the Begonia tray has to be on 80 degrees heat mat. So that is not necessarily ideal for Lisianthus, but I went ahead and used a huge heat mat for 3 trays, including the Begonias and Lisianthus, just to see the difference of my Lisianthus that were on a heat mat versus not. And I did notice a difference, and I have numbers to show that. I know some people use a heat mat though with Lisianthus, so I'm curious what their process is, but this is what I found. So the ones that were on the heat mat for me were my Echo Pink Pickety and the Roseanne Black Pearl. These were sowed 15 days ago to today. And out of this tray, I had 21 total germinated, and that's out of 24 seed cells. So not great, but not terrible. I will take that. Last year was a pretty big flop for Lisianthus. I got 4 in the garden. Yeah, I'm happy about those 4, but I'm hoping for much more this year. So now I'll bring you down and take a look at this first tray. So here we are. This is the Roseanne Black Pearl section, and up here is the Echo Pink Pickety. Here's an example of one that has germinated, but a lot of them are very tiny and difficult to see. I had 11 germinate out of the Echo Pink Pickety, and I had 10 germinate out of the Roseanne Black Pearl. So I had a little more luck up here. You can see there's one there in that tray. Now I'll show you the tray I had the least amount of luck with. Let's take a look in the grow light tray. I only had 13 germinate in this whole tray. Up top here is the rest of the Roseanne Black Pearl. However, this one here was the first one to germinate out of any of them super early, and you can see it's already getting ready to shoot its 4th leaf up right down there, which is cool. But at the bottom, I really struggled. This was the Voyage 2 Champagne down here in this section, and I only had 4 germinate out of those 11 cells down here. So not great. Again, that tray was on the heat mat that was set at 80 degrees. So now we're going to go to my next round, which I sowed and did not put on a heat mat. This next tray was the best tray that I have, and it has the Voyage 2 Champagne in these top 4 cells up here, Voyage 2 White Improved at the bottom. My numbers on these were 4 out of 4 cells germinated on the Voyage 2 Champagne, and 23 in 19 cells. So when I say 23 out of 19, I mean that's how many seedlings came up in 19 cells. So some cells had more than 1 seedling germinate because I put 3 seeds in each cell. Okay, here you can see some little itty bitty Lisianthus. If you're looking closely, the green. There's one little guy there. They're still so hard to see. I really had to focus when I was counting. There's 2 in this one. I know it's so hard to see that little one there. And then there's another one here with a head. So I had 27 in that tray germinate. That was by far my largest amount. Now, my last 2 trays also were not on a heat mat and fared much better too. So I'm seeing a pattern here of not putting them on a heat mat worked better for me. The next tray, I planted the rest of the Voyage 2 White Improved and the Arena 3 Apricot. And these are 12 days out. So I planted these a little bit after my first round. Yet still, 21 in that next tray germinated. Better luck there as well. I'm not going to show you each of these trays because I know it's hard to see them, but trust me, I counted really hardcore and a couple times each tray. It's like a treasure hunt, you know? And the last tray, I did the rest of the Arena 3s and the Doubleini White. These were sowed 9 days ago and still have the humidity dome. I'll show you those real quick. There they are over there in the corner. I am gonna take that humidity dome off soon. So with the Arena 3s in that one, I had 13 come up in 10 cell trays and 11 out of 14 cell trays in the Doubleini White. So that totals 24 little seedlings out of those 24 cell trays in that. So when I total all of that up, I get 106 total little itty bitty Lisianthus seedlings out of 120 cells. So I'm fully aware not all of those will probably make it based on my experience last year, but even if I get a quarter of those, or even less than a quarter, if I end up having 25 Lisianthus plants I can put out in my cut flower garden, I'd be stoked. I really did learn something for next year. I'm not gonna put them on heat mats next year. I'm gonna keep rolling like this right now. My dilemma is if I'm going to go ahead, like I previously said in my other video, and move those second round of Lisianthus downstairs to be cooler and see the difference between growing them downstairs versus upstairs where it's a little warmer, because they do prefer that ideal 68 degrees to grow on. Right now I'm not so worried because it's so cold here. It's like 15 degrees here. It's gotten all the way down to -1, so our house is cooler in general, but I don't like that homemade grow light as well. I think it's fine overall, but it makes me a little nervous. So I haven't decided if I'm gonna do that or not yet. We'll see when it gets warmer. If I notice the upstairs is above 70 degrees consistently, I'm definitely moving those bottom ones that weren't on a heat mat and germinated really well downstairs. That's for sure. Now really quickly, I'll show you my Begonias and Pansies. I did not go through the trouble of counting all of these because I'm a little less concerned about them. As long as I have some, I'm happy with that. These Begonia seeds are uber tiny, but the Pansies are looking good too, and most of those are downstairs. So let's take a quick look. Here are 2 itty bitty Begonias. That's what they look like. And these are the really tiny and difficult to see. Back here is where it gets interesting. I had 2 cell spots left, so I threw some Pansies in there, and they don't like to be on heat necessarily, but this one's doing well and this one has faltered. So I'm curious if that's from the heat, because the ones downstairs have even more leaves on them. Let's go take a look. Okay, here we are, Pansy Central. You can see all that green. The Pansies are obviously bigger than the Begonias or Lisianthus, but they're actually starting to put on some growth. You can see over here, there's 2 or 3 leaves. It's exciting. So these are doing pretty good. My dilemma down here is that this is in the basement in our storage area, and sometimes I neglect this one. I'll forget to turn the lights off, or I don't water as often. These Pansies are doing okay, but I'm a little more attached to my Lisianthus, and I'm nervous something will go wrong if I bring them down here. Comment below and let me know if you put your Lisianthus in a space like this, and if it does just fine. You'll put my mind at ease, as silly as that sounds. I'm glad the Pansies are doing well. And if you didn't see my video about sowing these, I put them in the basement right away because Pansies do like to grow on and germinate at a cooler temperature. So that's why they're already down here. And that completes the Lisianthus update, as well as the Begonias and the Pansies. Please let me know if you're a Lizzie wizard, how often you're watering them after they emerge, because I know it's important to come back off the watering, so I'm thinking about once a day will suffice, and to let them dry out a little bit between waterings. I know they want that. I think that was my problem last year, is that I got nervous and overwatered, and it was to their detriment. So please share your information. You guys have been helpful already with giving some tips and tricks, and I appreciate it. My subscribers appreciate it because everybody sees it, so let's keep that going. I do plan on coming in with a fertilizer once a week. I'm gonna pick one day. I think Mondays will work best for me, and fertilize them once a week on that Monday. every week to give them some extra nourishment and nutrients. Fingers crossed we keep going in the right direction. I'm happy so far and doing better than last year so far. Yay for improvement. If you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe to follow along here how this journey goes. Thanks for watching. If you've already sowed some things, I hope they're coming up and growing for you, and we will see you in the next one. Happy planting.